Okay? Especially them, because you don't have the chance to ask so many questions about Swami Vishnu, about yoga. Okay, they're here for today and tomorrow, so they're all very busy. Okay, they have ashrams, places to go in Spain, in France, in Orléans, in Reich, in Austria, so they are the courses like here now. They have to drop the same number of people, even more, and come here for 2-3 days. So if you have any to ask, please take advantage now. Okay? Thank you. You're the mic, tell me, on the back to come here.
What change did they go through? Noticeably?
Yes.
The effect of the TTC, the effect of the teachings?
Now, how did you get the classes built up and that people stayed in Europe instead of coming here?
You mean in the 70s? Or?
Yes, when was it changed? It used to
What I'm going to say is going to be a statement. I think, among many other contributions that India has made for the benefit of mankind, yoga ranks pretty high among those contributions. This was my statement. My question: to what do you attribute the fact that yoga is so popular in the West and so little in India, the birthplace of yoga?
Who you want to address this?
Which one do you want to talk? Which one of them?
I'll repeat my question.
No, which one?
To who? Who are you asking?
Any one of you. For me, you are all respectable swamis. Anyone can ask. Whoever feels that he or she has the answer.
Swamiji gave the answer already. Swami vishnu-devananda, we all know this, gave the answer. He said, you know, if people still are looking for cars and fridges and, you know, their personal wealth, they're not ready, they're hungry in the stomach, they're not ready for yoga. But in the West, we already knew that the car didn't give us happiness and all these things, you know, all the worldly things. The wealth didn't give us happiness. He would speak about this, and this is why yoga became so popular in the West. And of course, once it's popular in the West, India also sees if the Westerners doing it, maybe we also should try. Now India is also turning into more yoga. Yoga is more popular in India now also. So this was Swamiji's answer. Well, I mean, it's quite logical, isn't it? I mean, if you're still longing for things, you're not ready to search for your inner self, right? There has to be a certain, or you're really ready for it. You know, evolution has made you ready. So Swamiji would speak very often about this, and I always personally felt very embarrassed when he would speak about it, when there were Indians in the audience in the West, and he would say, oh, the Westerners are much more advanced than you Indians, you know, because you already are ahead of time, because you know, your evolution is ready to practice yoga. He would say that.
One reason, if I may add,
Yeah,
is
sure.
that the tension and the stress, the level of stress and tension in the West, it was contributing to bring people to yoga. They tried drugs, alcohol, so many other, trips at that time, especially in the 70s. But none of them could satisfy them as a human being. So yoga was the solution. Swami Shivananda told Swami Vishnu, go to the West because all souls are reincarnated. So that's why I came here. In India also, because there is the preconceived knowledge that if you are sannyasi, yogi, you have to give up life, blah, blah. A lot of misconceptions still today, it's very strong there. Among the young people, no, because some of them are educated here in the West and went back to India. But if you speak to elderly people, say, oh my God, the sannyasi. They used to ask me, you're West? I said, yeah, what are you doing to sannyasi? Are you crazy or what? I said, no, I'm not crazy. He said, why are you there? Because I have peace. And this is the land of peace, the land of knowledge, that's why I'm here. And they couldn't understand that a Westerner could do that because they're preconception. Oh my God, you're sannyasi and the family and the husband, the wife and the mother and the father. So forget it, we are not so many, when you're 16, 17, we leave the house. some of us, then they go around the world. In India, they're more family-oriented, you know that. But now they start to wake up. But at that time, there was a lot of misconception about yoga. Lots of misconception. They're still in the countryside, they're still there. But in a big city like Chennai or Mumbai, they're very updated now. Delhi, they want to do yoga, and also they start to ask me, what about Vedanta, this and that and that and that. And it is awakening now in India as much as it used to be in the West years ago. Very strong. And plus a lot of Babas and Rajas now on TV, they have their own personal TV channels, as you know, and etc., etc., etc.
In my 77 years of life, having lived mostly in the West, I have seen the rise of yoga. I've been here almost 50 years, and I say I agree with you to some extent that people are buying something that people in the West already had. Like you gave the example of car. I will not disagree with you, it's not my intention, but I have seen that in India they have been more occupied with the spiritual enlightenment and this thirst for the ultimate, for the God. Knowledge of the Almighty has preoccupied their mind, and while yoga is very high in their esteem, as it should be, it has attracted less. Now it may be that there is, but I have traveled in right up to Gangotri, many other places, almost whole of India, South, Rajasthan, Punjab, UP, everywhere almost. And I would like to see more of yoga awakening than it is. Thank you very much for answering my question.
You want me to answer? Or you're satisfied with okay?
I'd like to add something to it.
Do you want an answer to that?
I would like to just add something, and very nice topic you bring it up. But what is the scope of yoga as a mass movement? What is the scope of yoga as a mass movement anyway? Right? So when we go deeper into yoga, it always becomes something very personal. And the fact that it is a mass movement or not a mass movement is not critical for that part. Anybody who wants to do yoga more seriously has to make personal choices and needs a personal connection to a teacher. And whether that teacher is teaching 1,000 people or 10 people, the main thing is that you get the proper instruction for you, for your situation, and then advance. And in that respect, of course, India is the treasure, is the gold mine, and always has been, and hopefully will continue to be. But the mass movement of yoga is something very different, I feel. Okay.
You have to speak now.
As the younger generation in India right now, I feel like there is a big barrier between being religious and being spiritual, because a lot of people in India are very religious, but most people don't understand the concept of spirituality. It's all about the religion. So in a way, being a Hindu is a great barrier to getting to the level of spirituality, because they only see the gods, they don't see the message that the gods are trying to teach you to get to the higher level.
That is correct, but I wouldn't say just India. That goes all the religion of the world.
I know, but it's just that, people have this preconceived notion that India is the land of spirituality and everybody is spiritual there. But sometimes it's just the opposite, because you just end up being very religious. Because when I was growing up, I was very religious. Like the idea of spirituality, because I had such a constricted view of my religion and how things work. Learning about spirituality was a big step for me also. So in a way, I think that is why yoga hasn't picked up that much, because people don't realize that religion and spirituality cannot be the same.
I would say I wouldn't put probably East and West, North and South are religions, okay? It's a personal spiritual call. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. You can be an Alpha Centauri there in another galaxy. When you are ready, a guru would be the threshold. Traditionally, the knowledge is India, has been India, and SYVC said, let's pray God will continue. It's probably the only country in the world that still has a living spirituality and unbroken tradition from guru to disciple since time immemorial. Okay? But as she said, probably the religions has some blocks sometimes to people. They really don't understand. Sometimes I speak to a Brahmin, just explain a little bit what yoga is all about. And they're supposed to know a little bit better, but and that's what it is. Religion is sometimes, all the religions, whether Hindu or any other religion in the world, it's the same story. They're locked up in their own things, they don't see anything else beyond that. And when someone else does it, they ask questions, well, what's going on, etc., etc. But I think it's very personal. Honest to God, people come here, all of us, here in yoga, when we are ready for it, when we are ready for spirituality, and that is beyond caste, creed, religion, country, etc., etc., etc. India has the advantage of being, since time immemorial, a very spiritual country, still is. It's a great saint, great sannyasi, and it goes on, and let's pray God will go forever. Okay, so we go to the source, we want all the knowledge from India, but spirituality is something very, very personal, I think. Okay, it has nothing to do, I repeat, with country, religion, caste, creed, age, sex, etc., etc.
I would like so life in ashram, commonly staff will come, most of the people will come and go, they will spend this or that amount of time. And so the community is really changing, and I have a question. What are your thoughts or visions about having communities of teachers, Shivananda teachers, so they share life together and be a satsanga, maybe alongside the ashram or something like that? So ideas about communities of teachers that are not full-time staff.
Again, as mentioned before, Swamiji tried so many programs. Among them, which still goes on, is the Sama program, Shivananda Association, Family Association for people who are married, they have a house, and they want to continue to practice yoga. So we allotted about 45 acres of land for that. But TTC, we had a reunion, we still have it after many years, lots of people came. But again, as mentioned before, true spirituality, it has to be a call. You can get all the teachers you want here for a while, but they're like summer passing clouds. Unless they have a strong commitment, they're not going to do it. Okay? We are open to anything, all the time, to schools, colleges, anything we try. Making a hospital, Ayurvedic hospital. The thing is, it was a period that Swamiji started an orchestra here. Remember the classic orchestra from New York, do you remember that? No? It used to be orchestra here, and having concerts, classical music. They stay for a while and then they go. That's the whole problem. Okay? We are always open to anything, but are the people ready to stick around? And that's again is the problem. Spirituality, and the Gita is very clear. 1,000 stars, few practice, and very few get to the top. Okay? And that's a fact. independence or counter-religions. It's a very, I found out more and more, it's very personal. It's between you and God. And you can be anybody anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter. Okay? That's where I see it.
Also, when you're living together, you have to organize things a little bit. And most everybody is a free spirit, you know. They don't want to organize themselves with rules and regulations, and then it becomes very restricted for many people. Till you're really ready to, then the renunciation comes, no? When you're ready to renounce your raga, dvesha, your likes and dislikes, then it becomes again possible to be with people who you didn't call to be with, but just to be by karma to be with. Not so easy. It's a very good idea. I mean, it's like, it's a dream, you know, to come true, to have that. But on the other hand, like Swamiji would say, you know, every person who learned the yoga is a light in the darkness, so you spread into the society and you can do a lot of work there also, you know. Because then you isolate yourself from the society again a little bit, you know. And this is what Swamiji, I really didn't allow the Swamis to isolate. He sent me everywhere, you know, and then you feel like you feel for a moment alone, because you have to then, like Swami Mahadevananda said, there were hardly any students at the beginning in India. And I felt the same in Europe, I know. I mean, I was waiting for the students in the evening to come, you know. Everything was ready, but maybe one or two came. I remember once, you know, we had a festival, Shivaratri, and I announced it and said, you know, we make this special festival and everything, and then people turned up and they came up in high heels and Chanel 5s and mini skirts. They had no idea what it was, although I explained everything, and I didn't turn them down. I said, please take your shoes off, sit down, and you know, they left after half an hour. You know, it's not easy. I think it's okay as it is. Take the world as it is, you know, and do the best. Huh? You can gather things around yourself also and start that. You know, many people do that. Many teachers, you know, around centers, you see people move, you know, around centers in cities, and then they come for satsang, or here in Vamorin, you know. It was a place nobody knew. Now you reach in Montreal at the custom and you say, where are you going? Yoga camp. You get the stand, there you go. Yeah. So this is how you start. I mean, it's okay. It's a good idea, though.
Is that